Paritavana metang sameta badanta Avikita chitta paritang banantu Samanta chakavalesu adraga chantu devata Sadhamma munirajasa sirnantu sagamokadang Sage kame charupe girisikarata te chantali ke vimane Dipe rate chakame taruanagahane gehawatum hikete Bumma chayantu deva jalatala visame yaka ganda banaga Titanta santikeyang Muniwara wachanang sadome sunantu Buddha dasana kalo ayam badanta Dhamma sawana kalo ayam badanta Sangha pairupa sana kalo ayam badanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Dhammāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Dutiyampi Dhammāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Tatiyampi Dhammāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Itipiso bhagava araham sama sambuddho Vijacharana sampano sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sata Deva manusanam buddho bhagavati Swagato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko Ehipasiko Opanaiko Pachatang Vedikabo Vinyuhiti Supatipano Bhagavato Sawakasangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sawakasangho Nyaya patipano bhagavato sawakasangho Samichi patipano bhagavato sawakasangho Yadidang chatari purisa yugani yata purisa pugala Esa bhagavato sawakasangho Ahuneyo, Pahuneyo, Dakineyo, Anjalikaraniyo, Anuttarang Punyaketam Lokasati. Panchakanda, Rupakanda, Vedanakanda, Sanyakanda, Sankharakanda, Vijnanakanda, Dvadasayatanani, Chakvayatanam, Rupayatanam, Sotayatanam Sadayatanam Ganayatanam Gandayatanam Jivayatanam Rasayatanam Kayayatanam Potapayatanam Manayatanam Dhammayatanam Atarasadayatu Chakudatu Rupadatu Chakuvinyanadatu Sotadatu Sadadatu Sotavinyanadatu Ganadatu Gandadatu Ganavinyanadatu Jiva Datu rasa datu jiva vinyana datu kaya datu potapa datu kaya vinyana datu mano datu dhamma datu mano vinyana datu bhavi satindriyani chakundriyan sotindriyan Ganindriyam, Jivindriyam, Kayindriyam, Manindriyam, Itindriyam, Purisindriyam, Jivitindriyam, Sukhindriyam, Dukhindriyam, Somanasindriyam, Domanasindriyam, Upekindriyam, Sadindriyam, Viriyendriyam, Satindriyam, Samadindriyam, Panyendriyam, Ananyatanya Samitindriyam, Anyendriyam, Anyatawindriyam, Chatari Ariya Sachani Dukkam, Ariya Sacham, Dukkha Samudayo, Ariya Sacham, Dukkha Nirodha, Ariya Sacham, Dukkha Nirodha Gamani, Patipada, Ariya Sacham, Avijja Pachaya Sankhara, Sankhara Pachaya Vinyanam, Vinyana Pachaya Nama Rupam, Nama Rupa Pachaya Salayatanam, Salayatana Pachaya Paso, Pasa Pachaya Vedana, Vedana Pachaya Tanha, Tanha Pachaya Upadana, Upadana Pachaya Bhavo, Bhava Pachaya Jati, Jati Pachaya Jaramaranam, Soka Parideva Dukkha Domana, Supayasa Sambhavanti Eva Meta Sakevala Sadukha Kanda Sasamudayo Hoti Avijayatamawe Asesa Viraga Nirodha Sankhara Nirodha Sankhara Nirodha Vinyana Nirodha Vinyana Nirodha Nama Rupa Nirodha Nama Rupa Nirodha Salayatana Nirodha Salayatana Nirodha Pasa Nirodha Pasa Nirodha Vedana Nirodha Vedana Nirodha Tanha Nirodha Tanha Nirodha Upadana Nirodha Upadana Nirodha Bhava Nirodha Bhava Nirodha Jati Nirodha Jati Nirodha Jaramaranam Soka Parideva Dukkha Domana Supayasa Niruchanti Eva Meta Sakevala Sadukha Kanda Sanirodo Hoti Anicca vata sankhara, upadavaya dhammino, upajitva nirujjanti, te samvupasamo sukho. Anicca vata sankhara, upadavaya dhammino, upajitva nirujjanti, te samvupasamo sukho. Anicca vata sankhara, upadavaya dhammino, upajitva nirujjanti, te samvupasamo sukho.
The chanting that we did at the end is a chant that happens at every um, occasion for observing um, someone's end of life that I've been to in the Thai forest tradition. It starts with anicca vata sankharas, all sankharas, all conditioned things are impermanent. And it's their nature to arise and to cease. And once they arise and then cease, their cessation brings peace. And of course, that's what we all wish for Cynthia and for all of us. And Cynthia is a really excellent practitioner. We've been really blessed to have her in our community, to know her. And she shared the journey she's had with brain cancer so openly with us. And it's been a powerful reflection because, of course, we never know what's going to come with these bodies, but certainly something will cause the body to come to an end. And the Buddha's teaching that this is an important message for us, all of us, to really reflect on the time we have with each other and use it in the best way we can, to inspire each other, to encourage each other in goodness and in development of the mind, in actions of kindness and generosity, compassion and virtue, developing wisdom. And of course, we've all witnessed that in Cynthia's practice, which is wonderful to remember. And it's such an important time for us to reflect on our own practice and encourage ourselves, remember our own good qualities and positive actions, and really our dedication to making good use of the time we have as human beings in this life. But then also knowing that the development of the Dhamma, or maybe more accurately, the realization that comes with our practice. I don't just mean meditation practice, obviously, but the whole path. The realization of Dhamma, to see through the material world and recognize the reality of these conditioned all the conditioned things that structure our life and our experience to be uncertain, to be unstable, to be coming and going, and that's their nature. When we really accept that, when we really recognize that that's their nature, we can put down the burdens of worrying about it, of being entangled in it, of continuing to struggle. and instead be filled with compassion and loving kindness and equanimity and joy for the, the peace that is really the backdrop of it all, the grounding, the ground of it all, the origin of it all. It's so easy to waste our time and our energy on a lot of things that really in the end don't matter. And we can catch ourselves in those cycles of being distracted or enmeshed or caught up in or tranquilized by the events and the conditions of life. And instead, shake it off and see it clearly for what it is. The things that we get angry about or upset about or fight about or greedy over or wanting to get rid of. It's natural. We don't have to beat ourselves up for that. It's better to just see it for what it is. And when we see it in other people, have that compassion arise for the dilemma we're in this life. And recognize that we don't have to waste our time and energy in these endless cycles of desire and aversion, all fueled or supported by delusion. But that we can step aside, see it for what it is, rest in pure awareness, really seeing things unfold in front of us, but not be entangled in it. This is really the practice. And of course, our hope for Cynthia is that she lands the chitta lands in a context where she can practice Dhamma, where there's love and support and everything that she needs to be healthy, to be happy, and to apply her mind. That chant that we often do of sharing blessings, and it's also an aspiration to be reborn in whatever kind of birth with an upright mind, the ability to be wise and discerning. And Cynthia certainly has been in this lifetime. And may it be that way ongoing until Nibbana, which could be at any point upon in the transition, as the Buddha said, in the landing, or in the next birth, in the next lifetime, or whenever that comes. When we really see, it's not like we have to think of that as something we have to work really hard for ages, and then finally it happens. It's like, it's right here. What is in the way of our knowing it directly? Being caught up in our own conditioning. We can learn how to set it aside. Even in moments when we really just allow ourselves to be present with the way things are right now, beyond words. Sometimes people come to visit the vihara and they don't really want to hear about the Dhamma. They just want to talk about the world. And they don't really have any questions. Sometimes you get the feeling that they think they know it all already. These are such barriers to our progress. When we think like that, when we allow those subtle underlying tendencies, or maybe even quite obvious overt beliefs, to keep us from really learning, really making the effort to develop. And we're all susceptible to views and opinions that block our development, habits and patterns, and um, strong coping mechanisms to defend our personality, defend our ego, defend our false sense of self. So it's really I always feel like when there's a closeness of death, whether it's someone we love or someone we know, someone in our immediate connection and experience, or as we're reflecting on our own death, there's a real opportunity in that to bring things into focus and to let go of all this stuff that doesn't matter. And I really appreciate the sincerity of everyone who participates in this community and really want to really see what's going on in ourselves. This is an incredible, amazing gift. That willingness, that courage that Cynthia has and that all of you have to really open up to the Dhamma. It's not easy. There are lots of challenges in it, but you're doing it. And I'd like to invite any comments or questions you have. Or anything you'd like to share. Mira?
I would just like to include in one of Cynthia's qualities I've been sitting with this morning, which is her generosity of and her kindness of attention that I enjoyed. And even when she was really suffering with her illness, my experience in time with her was her like sort of unwavering generosity and interest also towards myself.
Oh,
Hoping to include that awareness and that quality as she's transitioning. Thank you.
thank you, Mira. Anne, did you want to say something?
Yeah. I just feel very grateful and very touched. So I just want to say thank you. And just the teaching is profound. So thank you. And thinking of Cynthia and her family, thoughts of her family. I don't know who that was or who was there, but it's just a profound moment for them. And we're sharing it in remotely. So thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Anne. Yes, Miss Steve, you want to come over here? And, if you don't want to, then maybe we'd like people to hear you.
So I also had cancer spread to my brain, and before about a year ago, before one of her surgeries, we talked and compared cancer stories, and I thought for sure at that point that I would be the first one to leave. But she was very, even during that time, she was worried about the surgery, but focused on her practice. She was still waking up at 5 a.m. and doing, the practice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
And just a lot of gratitude for the community, and that's.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Steve.
I certainly didn't expect to be here at this point. We just don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Paula?
Yeah, I just wanted to also speak to Cynthia's quality of living deliberately. She was pretty dedicated to both her practice and other things like veganism, which, isn't for everyone, but it just kind of left a sense with me that she was always sort of mindful all the time and didn't do things that weren't unimportant. If they weren't important, she didn't really focus on them. I was also grateful that she came to all of our sessions and asked really great questions and participated and was open with the process that she was going through, because I think it helped me think about what I would be like in her situation. And, I'm just grateful to have known her. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. The Buddha really encouraged us to learn from others. We know someone, many of you have heard me refer to this many times, but I feel like it's so valuable. The Buddha would say, if you know someone who has more wisdom than you have, then, really emulate them. If you know someone with better virtue, then really emulate them, and generosity and faith. Just see those good qualities in one another. And it's like, I think it must be like playing tennis with someone who's better than you are. It makes us better. It's great to share. It's great to share our own experience and support of others, and without any sort of ego in it or comparison in that way, but to just acknowledge good qualities that there are among us that we can absorb and develop in ourselves. Yes, Philip.
I still remember the how she was on programs, these final weeks, because I never met her in person. But if we had not known, like if she had not revealed what she was going through and we didn't know the context, like I said to you before, her mind still seems like totally sharp. Like I would not know, I wouldn't have known what she's going through. And I remember from the teachings, like it's said that the quality and character of your mind at the moment of your death is very important for your rebirth. So I hope that just bodes very well for her because she was still, really sharp. And I just also appreciate what you said about examples because, like, I have a lot of examples around me for how to practice.
Thank you, Philip. Yes, Serena.
Can you hear me?
It's a little soft.
Okay, is that a little better?
Yes.
Okay. All you said today really hit home for me. I and I'm glad I've kind of been a little lost and retreated into myself since my husband died in April. But today I determined I really need to just get back into our group and so I'm glad that I came today when you were talking about Cynthia and what's happening. I was with my husband when he died, and yeah, I'm not doing a real good job since, adjusting to his absence, looking a lot at attachment and clinging. It's not easy. So I'm glad to have heard what you said today, and I'm glad to be with everyone.
Yeah, it's really good to have you with us, Serena. And it takes time and it takes ongoing recollection of what your life is for, before, during, and after your marriage. And also that you still have, a good mind and an opportunity to deepen your practice. This is what's so important for us to utilize. And even the grief and being able to be present with it, and you also are a good practitioner and you know so much about the Dhamma. I know you're listening to the Dhamma talks and Luang Prasamato and others and taking it in. It is the dukkha of life that the Buddha pointed to because that's really where we find the traction, the leverage, the indication that there's something for us to see and to know that isn't dukkha, that isn't conditioned, that isn't what we cling to. Yeah. So you're doing it. It's hard, but hang in there and stay with us.
Thank you. I really appreciate those words. It means a lot right now, and it's exactly what I need to look at. I have been realizing that this time for me is about deepening my practice. I get confused a lot these days. So it's challenging, but I'm trying to head in that direction of that being.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be here. It's my intention to be here, and because I know this will help a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And you've done a lot of things in your life to put in conditions that can help you now. All the time at, Vayagiri and your connection with Luang Prapasano and, you've created relationships and you've made karma that, brings a lot of support at this time. And yeah, we have to still, each of us, we have to like recognize when we're in the fog and when we're feeling, like we've lost the plot, and then reach out and get support. Yeah. Thanks for your sharing. Chitananda and I were able to have a conversation with Lumpur Pasana this morning before the program. And I was just reflecting on my, I think it's 22 years that he's formally been my teacher, and was my teacher really long before that. But it's such a blessing to know such people and to have resources in our life like that. But we have a responsibility in that relationship. We have to want to learn. We have to want to change. We have to examine what we're being told and follow through in the practice. And then we're open to the next question we have to go farther. And this is something that we have to take responsibility for individually, that we don't waste our time and spend decades just doing the same old thing. What a waste. And if you didn't know that already, you wouldn't be here. So I hope you take that as encouragement, affirmation. Any more comments or questions, thoughts? What do you find challenging in this context? Paula?
I think it's challenging to be mindful throughout the day, in regards to knowing that, we could die at any moment. That's the challenge for me.
Yeah. I mean, the Buddha, of course, encouraged us to be coming back to that reality again and again and again, like you said, throughout the day, every breath, every bite of food. But then it's not the only thing, right? It's also the fact that the practice brings joy and ease and happiness, and it's a happy mind that easily becomes still and unified. And it's like when we read these things in the suttas, it's important to bring them all into balance. So being present and aware of the way things are right now doesn't mean you have to have like death right there in the front of your mind necessarily, but it's all part of it, right? It's seeing that it's all arising and ceasing. When we see that in everything, then we understand. It's kind of like, it's not about pressuring the mind into, facing the horrible reality. It's more about just establishing mindfulness and being present and aware with this experience the way it is right now. And right now, in any moment, we experience that arising and ceasing of phenomenon. It's happening all the time with our thoughts, with our feelings, with everything around us constantly changing. We think, oh, this that I'm experiencing right now, we feel like it's never going to end, but it always does end. There's always an ending to whatever had a beginning. That's what we really need to see. Neil?
Yeah. Wow. So this session today really pushes the big button for me, and I've been trying to resist raising my hand. And we're talking about Cynthia, and I've certainly been thinking about Cynthia, and yeah, death. I mean, it is, since I was a little boy, I have had a massive obsession and fear of death. I mean, I used to lie in my bed awake all night with this realization that someday this consciousness is going to cease. And how can that be? How can that be? And I really don't mean to be really heavy here, but when in your talk you mentioned how, with Cynthia, that her chitta will, we hope and we wish that it will move into a good experience, a better experience. And I just wish I could find comfort in that. And maybe that's the word I'm thinking about, is comfort. People come to religion for comfort often. Buddhism, considering that I've been obsessed with the reality of death for all of my life, how did I end up with Buddhism as my religion? I mean, it's the one that does not let you find any comfort in the realization of death. It wants you to accept it as a reality. So yes, the chitta will move on, but the chitta will not include this consciousness that calls itself Neil.
Yeah,
And so
what's the
I
big
will
deal about
so
Neil?
so I will not be aware of it. This will be gone. And I've been with this for 70 years now. How can I, I mean, you all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And I'm bringing it, for me anyway, to the basic root of the whole problem. People may have their various ideas of what samsara is, but and what dukkha is, but this is it for me.
Yeah.
And how do I, and in a way, I was listening to your response to Paula's comment, and I thought, okay, well, that's the answer. But I don't know. It doesn't give me comfort. So I don't know. Can you talk about how to get comfort out of all of this?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to commend your courage and your willingness to, lay it out there, because it's true. It's like that's where we're stuck. That's where we're caught. We want to be Neil or whoever, whatever name, whatever we think we are. And this is why we suffer. This is exactly the point. Where is the comfort? It's in knowing that when we let go of that attachment, that clinging, that wanting to be somebody, that belief that we are something more than rising and ceasing phenomena. When we come to understand that that's not true, that's not really who we are. Okay, then who am I? Who are we? Dhamma.
And it's like a catch-22, because years of this practice have developed in me a faith that what you're saying is true. And yet I have the faith, but I don't have the experience of understanding that it's true. And so it's this constant struggle. And right now I'm in a period of my life where I have a younger sister who is going through a deep, deep depression, and she keeps talking about how I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't have the strength to kill myself.
Oh.
And so that, that's also flavoring into this somehow, that I don't know how to help her, because there's a part of me that wants to say, let go, but let go of what? Let go of life, or let go of your suffering? And I don't know how to help her find that kernel that I feel like I've learned that helps me keep doing the right thing and the good thing and the best thing because of this faith I have. She doesn't have that faith. She has God. I keep asking God to get me through this, and God, I know God's going to get me through this, but when is it going to start? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go on and on and on.
No, but I understand. So the first misunderstanding that needs to be corrected is that her killing herself would help, because it doesn't. It doesn't take away the confusion. It doesn't put an end to the dukkha, because the chitta continues. It finds
But she doesn't believe that. She doesn't have any concept of that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could try to tell her that.
I get it. But when a Christian wonders if they're going to go to heaven or they're going to go to hell, maybe they could look at whether they're experiencing heaven or hell now, because it doesn't get any better just by wishing, right? So it's one. I'm not saying that you can. I don't know if there's a way to explain this to her, but my point is that's one deception she's falling for. That's important for us not to fall for. That ending our life is gonna make this better.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't want this to turn into a conversation about my sister, but
well, it's not, because this is the way people think. We're very materialistic in this culture, and we think that somehow ending the body is going to end the suffering of the mind, and it doesn't work. So that's
I think to some degree she must know that, because if she believes in heaven, why wouldn't she just say, all right, I'm going to end it so I can go to heaven? But she doesn't want to do that, because I think she knows that that's not the answer. So, all right. So this is maybe helping me. Maybe this is helping me in my next thing that I need to talk to her about, but thank you.
But the next thing you need to do is to realize nibbana, or realize this conditioned reality for yourself. And one of the most powerful fuels for that, in my experience, is to spend time with arahants. And the ones I know are in Thailand, so Time to take a trip, Neil.
How about just to Boulder Creek?
Well, I don't know the Arahants in Boulder Creek, but
There's Davis.
there are Davis here. Yes, there are Davis there.
They come through by Gary too. They just had a couple visit.
Yeah,
Reputed
it's-
Arahants, and you're right there, Neil. Go when they're there. Go when they're there.
I think right now somebody's there.
Oh yeah, who's there? I heard they were coming, but I didn't know who.
I don't remember their names.
Well, that's a whole other topic of, why have I been avoiding Abaya Giri for the last few years? That's a whole other topic. But
well, we're happy to talk about all that offline if you want to.
Yeah, ignore the reasons though, and go see the Arahants.
Yeah, and
it's
and
okay.
it's good to reflect on or talk about, how do these experiences, because people can go see Arahants and get nowhere and see nothing.
Mhm.
It's like, how do these experiences open us up? How do we start to recognize that we can directly know this truth through our direct experience? How does that happen? And the reason I say spending time with Arahants is because when you spend time with people who have this realization, it rubs off on us. It's contagious. And, there really is a need for that experience, that opening up to the reality of the unconditioned. Yes, you can come to Boulder Creek too.
Cute little cootie waiting for you.
thank you. I just have to say, in a selfish way, I'm grateful to Cynthia because our thinking and talking about her, I think, has helped me take this step to really get this out finally, that I've been needing to get out in the presence of you and this community. And I think, I'll just say thank you to Cynthia, wherever she may be now, and to all of you. Thanks.
Thank you to you too, Neil. Much appreciated. Svetlana?
Yes, thank you very much for this discussion, and Neil, thank you so much for your coming forward. This has been also, actually, this my question or comment relates to this. I've been also struggling with depression on and off, and I think what I find is that what helps is really arousing this sense of urgency and also the joy. And so I guess my question is, and recently it's been hard, it's been challenging to arise that feeling of joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think that's my challenge, is to really give rise to that. And I think what helps me to feel that sense of urgency is recollecting that sutta about the turtle in the ocean and the yolk.
Yeah.
And then, just the human life, how precious it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when we have trouble allowing joy to arise, it can be for various reasons. And I have things I can talk to you about if you want to hear them, but this isn't the place.
Yes, I'll connect with you offline. Thank you.
Yeah. But when we have that block that we can't feel the joy of the practice, then we need to look at what's going on. And if we can find the reflection, if we feel like we can't see it ourselves, if we can find that help in someone else, that's really important. Anne?
So thank you. I wanted to say something to Neil. And this may not be right, but I just have the thought that for Neil, he needs to not be trying to fix his sister.
So Anne,
Yeah.
since we don't usually like give each other direct advice, why don't you just tell us about what it's like to try to fix your sister?
I will. I'm very happy to do that. I'm sorry I approached it with that
That's
conversation.
okay.
But you know, I have a big family, and it's very easy to think about trying to help them. And it really doesn't work. My angst, you know, about family. You know, well, my sister, anyway, I won't talk about my sister because she's not the most immediate, but trying to fix one of the kids, and they're in this predicament. And you know, my angst doesn't help at all. And neither do I really have the advice for them. The only advice I have is the life I can live. That's what I feel like. So so apologies for.
That's okay, Anne. Don't worry. Thank you for that. And
Neil seems fine with it.
yeah, he's okay.
He's okay.
And I appreciate, I don't feel like I can so easily say that to everybody, so I know you can understand that.
Yes.
And I feel like when we are trying to, like, because we care so much about these people in our life,
Yeah.
and we're seeing what's going on for them, the most important thing we can do is turn it back to ourselves. Where am I doing the same thing? And then when we work through that, we can be an example, and we can share what we're experiencing with them, not to try to fix them, but to really try to work through what's going on in us. And this is true no matter what we're seeing. We can be watching the news and we can be very upset about how other people are behaving. But when we turn it around, where am I doing this kind of thing? Where is this obstacle in my own path? That's where we get some real value from it. And I think then, like you said, we're living a life, you're living a life that they have an opportunity to observe. Yeah, thank you, Anne. David?
Hi, everyone. Talking about, struggles. I was thinking of the struggle that, recurrently comes in the fact of feeling a bit guilty or a bit like sort of, oh, here I go again, doing sort of the same mistakes. I understand sometimes it comes from my like Latino Catholic background of guilt and stuff. So but I've been working hard, and I'm trying to understand and then not to see myself constantly like I cannot pass through this. I do it again. I'm kind of weak, all the
Yeah.
type of thing. But I've been working and getting better at it, and then it's great that you just mentioned about when one of the things that being the older one of the oldest in my family, I have that sort of authority figure, and then telling others, you should do this, you should do that, and that's one of the mistakes. But it's just excellent that you just said that I've been practicing. It's like you read my mind. I've been practicing. Okay, you're about to say scold this relative because they didn't do your brother. What is it that you are not doing? What is it that, and it's exactly what I've been practicing. I saw it in a video, and it's excellent that you said it, because that's been helping me to get better at it. And then and being that successful, or that better David, not the one that is repeating the same mistakes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for your sharing, David.
Good morning, everybody. I also wanted to just talk about resonating with what Neil was talking about when he said about having faith in through all his years of practice and listening to teachers in regards to rebirth, but not having the sense of like direct experience of that. So that resonated a lot with me. And I know time is very short, but I just did want to say that it's so that I feel like my belief in rebirth is on a more conceptual level, and I don't know how to move it beyond that, having no experience of, say, past lives or direct experience, any kind of direct experience or felt experience of rebirth beyond that sort of conceptual.
Right.
So thank you, Neil.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Joni. I know that that's the case for a lot of people. I think that there's a few things that could be kind of reflected upon and worked with this, including really looking at our, and I know you do this, really looking at the way we relate to our own self. You know, and I know that that's part of your practice anyway, but certainly a bigger topic to look more into. Yeah. Thank you.